Today's video is an in-depth look at the Commander's class and the Observer's class on Insurgency Sandstorm, from the purpose and importance of the role, the equipment they use, and how best to play as either a Commander or Observer. Both me and Wes will provide our own opinions throughout, lean on our own personal experiences, and use the U.S. Army and Marine Corps manuals for our referencing. While the game never spells out that security forces are U.S. or otherwise, we will lean on the doctrine we know best to frame the Commander and the Observer's roles. Keep in mind, me and Wes are just starting out, so every like or subscribe greatly helps us out. Now, I will be speaking for both me and Wes in this video, as he has been in the field for many weeks and needs this time for his family. I hope you understand. The Commander's primary role is direct and indirect fires. In this game, just to sell you on the class, the Commander's class is the most casualty producing class in the game. All kills as a result of the assets called in will contribute to the Commander's KD. The Commander can effectively halt an enemy attacking, force, or hammer an objective while keeping an extreme standoff distance between targets and his or herself. The Commander protects the squad by keeping all assets in the fight. To unlock this class, the player needs to have reached level 20. That goes for both the Commander and the Observer. The Observer's primary role is twofold: the protection of the Commander and talking to the fire support assets for the Commander. We do not talk about one class without mentioning the other. They are a team that is pointless without the other, so keep yourself as well as your Commander alive. The Commander and the Observer classes are not complicated classes, but there is a lot to go over. The video will be longer than normal, so if you're pressed for time, I will make sure to provide timestamps in the description.
Let's get ready.
As the Commander class, if you want to call something in, you must access your binos. First, hold down your button just like you would to access your grenades, and you'll see the binos. First, pull your binos out and be close to an observer. The distance between you will be shown in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Even if you have walls between you or indoors, you can call, so long as you are within 10 meters to an observer. With the binos in your hand, you may cycle through the one you would wish to select. Letting go, you will see red arrows if you're too far away from your observer, or you will see a red clock letting you know there is a cooldown period for something you called in previously. Once you have a green arrow, that means you are good to call. Pull triggers to confirm target. If you call in the wrong spot, you can change the location so long as the confirmation of the target hasn't been confirmed. That is your observer confirming your call and sending it up to higher. Also, if the Commander or Observer dies prior to the confirmation of the order, then that asset has been failed to call in. Security and Insurgent Commanders have vastly different assets to call. Sadly, the Insurgent abilities are very underwhelming, but we will go into each in detail and cover their use. Even if you only play one or the other, understanding the capabilities of the other fraction as far as how they're used or how long they last is going to greatly help you in your planning and tactics. Now, here are some key data points you will need to know about what to call in and when. The loadouts and weapons for both the Observer class and the Commander class are going to be the same as their riflemen. The differences will be in the upgrade points or weight allowance for each. For PvP, the Security Rifleman will have 9 upgrade points to use, and his Insurgency counterpart will have 8. The Observer will have 14 points for Security and will only have 10 points for Insurgent Observer. The Security Commander will have 10 points, and the Insurgency Commander will have 8 points. Already we can sort of see a downside to playing as an Insurgent. Now, when speaking for the co-op, the security rifleman will have 7. The insurgency rifleman will have 7. The security observer will have 13 points. And the insurgent observer will have 8 points. Finally, the insurgent commander will have 9 points, and the security commander will have 13 points.
Outpost, census observer, requesting smoke round from this target.
Smoke. For security, smoke takes 30 seconds to land from the point of confirmation, lasting for 30 to 45 seconds from the first round impact. For the insurgency, it only takes 15 seconds from confirmation to first round impact, lasting as long as 1 full minute. Understand this game treats smoke like a wall. You will not be able to call for something like artillery through smoke. Be aware of this so you don't call mortars in on your own position.
Closer! I can't see anything! Keep doing what you're doing!
Explosive artillery for security forces land neatly in a 100 by 100 meter square for 35 seconds after radio confirmation and last for 15 seconds. Versus the insurgent forces rocket barrage, landing just 25 seconds after confirmation and lasting for 40 seconds. The area of effect can vary widely, sometimes landing 200 meters outside of the initial point of impact. The explosive mortars for the insurgents lands 25 seconds after confirmation has been given, lasting for 35 seconds with an area of effect similar to the explosive artillery for the security forces. The insurgent commander has to make do with the chemical mortars and the explosive drone. The chemical mortars arriving in 25 seconds and lasting a horrifying 1 minute and 15 seconds. The explosive drone arriving in 23 seconds and lasting only for as long as it takes to find a single target and explode on. Now that you understand how long it takes to call something in and how long it lasts, you can effectively gauge when to call things in and when you can marry up some calls with others, as well as knowing just how long an enemy bombardment will last. This will help you, as the commander, control the pace of the match. Security forces really take the lead on the commander class by being able to call in both the gunship and the minigun, only one time each. Best saved for the last objective, the gunship arrives with rockets 30 seconds after radio confirmation, and staying on station for 40 seconds. The gunship can also be directed same as the autocannon. The minigun arrives quicker at 15 seconds and stays longer for 60 seconds.
No. Thanks, fucking rocket.
How to be a great or effective commander can be boiled down to 3 areas: knowing what to call and when to call it, understanding some critical no-goes, and communication. What to call and when. Quick assets like the autocannon, bomber drone, and explosive mortars are great for calling in screening fires. Fires used to block an approaching or expected enemy advance behind the objective your team is trying to head to, or used to destroy enemy caches from a great distance, provided they are not under cover. Artillery or rockets may be able to penetrate cover for some of the objectives. These assets are usually 2 to 3 around, so use them in conjunction with defense objectives while waiting on your artillery to recharge, or to finish out the last objective of a match. If playing the security forces, save your gunship and minigun towards the end of the match, especially if the last objective has a lot of open terrain, as lines of sight for the air is key. A good example of this would be tidal waves or farmhouse. The last objective or checkpoint is typically 3 minutes long, So if you spread out and use your assets over that length of time, you can effectively shut down the entire objective yourself. For PvP, if you want to catch the enemy in the open, making the right call right before capturing an objective or right after it's secured will ensure you keep the enemy pinned down and punish those for running out in the open. Chemical mortars, explosive artillery, and rocket barrages are walls, lasting a long time covering a wide area. They can be used together to cut off an enemy advance, or for PvP, pin or clear an objective of personnel. Now, what not to do. Some tips for what not to do are just as well. I would stay away from smoke altogether. Until optics can be added to combat the smoke, like thermals, it hurts your team more than it helps them. However, if you must, I recommend calling it on the enemy's advance, shortly after taking a defensive objective. This prevents the enemy from firing at your team from a distance, while still allowing your team to see what's around them. Do not assume an objective will be a defense. Too often, commanders will call in rocket or artillery just before an objective is captured to maximize their time, only to watch in horror as their team sprints away from the objective into the artillery that they called. Do not treat your observers like ill-trained dogs. They are just riflemen with radios. Play back. Allow the team to go forward. And when you need to call something, go find one of your observers, stand by, and use your mic to call them over. Also, if you're attempting to call something while getting the red arrow, the game will make the commander call out for the observer in the game and give them a reminder. Just don't be that commander whining about his observers throughout the match. Lastly, communication. We mention it in every video, but it cannot be overstated for the commander class. The risk of fratricide is much too high. You are using abilities that can kill your entire team if you are not careful. Let them know the game plan beforehand. Let the team know what you are calling, where you are calling it, and when. For example, artillery, 150 meters northwest of objective. Stay south of the road. Rounds impacting in 30 seconds. This small sentence tells your team everything they need to know in order to plan. Talk, plan, dominate. But if they don't want to listen after that, it's in God's hands. Well guys, I pushed this poor laptop as far as it can go, and it looks like I can't add an outro this time. But if you made it this far, thank you very much. We're a very small channel. Me and Wes are both active duty service members right now, and our time is very limited, but we really enjoy making these videos. We're big fans of Insurgency Sandstorm, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you are too. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something. Please, if you liked it, leave it a like. They're non-monetized. We just like getting likes. Sharing us also helps out a lot too, whether it's on Reddit, Facebook, or where else you feel like sharing this video. But that's going to be it for us. Treat 'em rough, and I'll see you next time.